Amazing. So today I have come up with the next lesson, that is Age of Revolution Part 2. So in the previous lesson we have seen how it's not only the wars or the territorial expansion, but also it included the culture, art form, and also many other things that has created a sense of nationalist feelings in the people. So next, in the same topic, we are going to see about the hunger, hardship, and popular revolt that included the second part of this lesson, and this lesson is presented by me, Reeta Roselin. So in this chapter we will see the hunger, hardship, and popular revolt. So in the 1830s, what happened? So these were the years of great economic hardship in Europe. So the first half of the 19th century saw an enormous increase in population all over Europe. So why there was economic hardship? Because of the increase in the population all over Europe. So in most of the countries there were more job seekers than the employment. So population from rural, they started migrated to the cities to live in overcrowded slums, and the small producers in towns, they were often faced with the stiff competition from imports of cheap machine-made goods from England. So where industrialization was more advanced than on the continent. So during that time, this was especially in textile production, we could see that, which was carried out mainly in homes or small workshops and was only a partly mechanized. So in those regions of Europe where the aristocracy still enjoyed power, peasants struggled under the burden of feudal dues and also under the burden of obligations. And there was rise of food prices every year due to the bad harvest. So that led to the widespread pauperism in the town and also in the country. So the year 1848 was one such year where there was food shortages and we could see widespread of unemployment, and also this brought the population of Paris out on the roads and the barricades were erected, and the Louis Philippe was forced to flee from that place. So a National Assembly proclaimed a republic, granted suffrage to all adult males about 21 and guaranteed the right to work. So national workshops to provide employment were set up during this year. Then earlier in 1845, weavers in Silesia had led to a revolt against contractors who supplied them raw materials and gave them orders for finished textiles. So, but they drastically reduced their payments. And next, what happened during 1848, the revolution of liberals, so parallel to the revolts of all the poor people against this unemployment or starving peasants. So what happened? And also the unemployed people, the starving peasants and the workers in many European countries in the year 1848, they made a revolution, and this revolution was led by educated middle class, and this was underway. So events of February 1848 in France, you could see, so that had brought about the abdication of monarch, and republic based on universal male suffrage had been proclaimed. So these things we had already said in French Revolution. So in other parts of Europe where independent nation state did not yet exist, such as like Germany, Italy, Poland, Austro-Hungarian Empire, men and women of liberal middle class, they combined their demands for constitutionalism with national unification. So they took advantage of growing popular unrest to push their demands for creation of a nation state on parliamentary principles and a constitution, freedom of press and freedom of association. So during this situation where there was hunger and hardship, popular revolt arose. So that revolt demanded for a constitution with freedom of press and also the freedom of association. So in the German regions, a large number of political associations whose members were middle class, professionals, businessmen, and prosperous artisans came together in the city of Frankfurt and decided to vote for an all-German National Assembly. So during this thing, so when the demands were growing, so that time what happened? A large number of political associations where all the middle class people were the members, so they decided to vote for German National Assembly. So on May 18, 1848, 831 elected representatives, they marched in a festive procession to take their places in Frankfurt Parliament convened in the Church of St. Paul, and they drafted a constitution for German nation to be headed by a monarchy subject to a parliament. So when the deputies offered the crown on these terms to Frederick Wilhelm IV, King of Prussia, he rejected it and joined other monarchs to oppose the elected assembly. So what happened during that situation? The opposition of aristocracy and the military, they become stronger, and the social basis of the parliament had been eroded. And the parliament was, we have seen already who were the members. They were the middle class people were the members in that parliament. So the parliament was dominated by the middle class. So these middle class resisted the demands of workers and artisans, and they consequently lost their support. So the middle class people lost the support from the workers and the artisans. So in the end, troops were called in the assembly and were forced to disband. So the issue of extending the political rights to women was a controversial one within the liberal movement, in which large number of women had to participate actively over the years. And women had formed their own political associations, they founded the newspapers, and women have taken part in the political meetings and also in the demonstrations. So despite this, they were denied of suffrage rights during the election of assembly. So when the Frankfurt Parliament convened in the Church of St. Paul, women are admitted only as observers to stand in the visitors' gallery. So though conservative forces were able to suppress the liberal movements in 1848, they could not restore the old order. So monarchs were beginning to realize that the cycles of revolution and repression could only be ended by granting concession to the liberal nationalist revolutionaries. So what happened? So hence after the years of 1848, so this is what happened. So they got the power, or what they done, the conservatives were able to suppress the liberal movements in 1848, and the conservatives, they could not restore the old order. So this is how what happened. The monarchs were beginning to realize the cycles of revolutionaries and repressions could only be ended by granting concessions to the liberal and nationalist revolutionaries. So hence in the years after 1848, the autocratic monarchies of Central and Eastern Europe began to introduce the changes that had been taken place in Western Europe before 1850. So though serfdom and bonded labor abolished both in Habsburg dominions and in Russia, so the Habsburg rulers granted more autonomy to the Hungarians in 1867. So this is all about the lesson, that is the age of revolution. So how the revolution of liberals was, and also how there was hunger, hardship and popular revolt, and how was the Frankfurt Parliament. So this is all about the lesson. So if you like the lesson, please do rate, review, recommend and share with your friends, and you can also follow my Unacademy profile. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.